the other thing that stands out to me as I'm playing, and this is such a specific thing to me, and I don't know why it's frustrating me, but everyone is fucking short in this game. Everyone is short in this game. I'm very confused at the proportions of characters in this game. Welcome to Respawn Please, the weekly video game podcast where two friends come together to talk all things video games. I'm your host, Jesus, and with me, as always, is the main squeeze, the big cheese, the lemon squeeze. Wait, I said squeeze twice. Shit.
Yes.
Al, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going? I'm doing well here. Just, the main squeeze of the podcast. Feeling good. Yeah, I'm excited for today's episode. How are you doing?
I am good. I was telling you, I'm very tired. I have been struggling to sleep this past week because I was anticipating the game that we're going to talk about today, because this whole episode of this week's podcast is dedicated to Dragon Age: The Veilguard, a game that I've been excited about. I've been replaying through all of the series on my personal stream. Elle, I know you have no interest in Dragon Age, but maybe I could convince you by the end of the stream.
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe I'll be transformed. I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to play it. Maybe. We'll see. I'm
either going to transform you into a believer, or you're going to join the mass wave of hate that has befallen this game. Am I going to hate it? I don't know. Maybe. We'll find out. We'll find out here in a little bit when we talk about it. But before we get into it, Al, what you been playing?
Really, to be honest, the only two things, maybe three things that I've been playing. Of course, Overwatch, but I've kind of cut back on that a little bit. And I've been more so playing Batman Arkham Knight. Just wanted to go through that again, kind of go through the series. I also actually recently just got Subnautica. I've never played Subnautica, and I wanted to play it. And
so, are you getting prepared for Subnautica 2?
That's what I heard. And then I've just seen like my TikTok, like I'll see randomly like Subnautica videos about Leviathans and all these things or whatever that like are scary that pop up in there. And so I thought it would be cool. And of course, currently, at the time of this recording, I think until Monday, actually, the Steam is having a sale on a bunch of games and stuff, as they usually do. And so I picked it up for half off. And so I'm going to get into that and probably be dipping my toes into Subnautica.
Okay. Are you scared of oceans and water and all that?
A little bit. Okay. Not more so the ocean itself, but it's like when you get into, not that we're always in these types of situations, but it's the situation of being out to sea and like you're by yourself, or if you that situation of when people are like underwater or they can see underwater, but it's like very foggy, you can't see very far. It's like you don't know what's under there. It's that fear of like what is out there type of thing.
Yeah. There's a term for it. For a while I was getting videos like that. It was like this level of whatever the hell that fear is called, and like
I think it's like thaslophobia or something.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Like I was getting those videos and I was watching them. I was like, there's nothing scary about this. It doesn't affect me at all. Like
I get that.
I'm just like, cool.
Because I've actually been out to sea and stuff, because a long time ago I went on a cruise. We were out in the middle ocean, and it's like beautiful, but it's like it's only scary to me at night, because like when you're out to sea, there's no other light except for the moon, even if like when the clouds aren't covering it. But man, it's like looking down, you're just like, oh, if I fall in here, that's it. Nobody's coming to save me. Nobody's gonna be able to find me.
Yeah. I guess I get that. Yeah, I haven't. Like my memories of the ocean are, when I've gone to Puerto Rico and stuff to visit family and stuff. So swimming in the ocean, but not really, because it was always like a beach and stuff. And
I get that. That makes sense.
So that's the closest I've been to like open ocean waters and stuff. I guess when I was in Okinawa too. I lived like not too far from the beach. Never really went out to the beach or anything, but I could look out my window and I could see the ocean. So
nice.
But again, never really went out and swam in it or anything. So I tried to go out into it, because I'm not a crazy person. I know humans are meant for land.
Very true. No words have been truer.
Humans are meant for land, not water and space, you fools. Why are we trying to go to why are we trying to go to Mars? I mean, I guess that's land, right? But still.
Yeah, I know.
There's a bunch of emptiness between us and Mars, you know?
Exactly.
Come on.
But
Anyway.
what you've been playing?
So I've just been playing Veilguard, and then I've been playing. We were talking about this. Pokemon Pocket TCG came out this week, and so I've been playing that. I've already unlocked a bunch of cards. Let me see how many cards I've unlocked. I think I've gotten like half of the cards that you can get in the game.
Wow.
Because I'm just opening packs constantly.
Gotcha.
You know, if this game would let me, I would probably spend thousands of dollars on it, but it kind of prevents you. It kind of prevents you. And he also gives you a warning saying, hey, you don't have to buy anything. You can get everything for free. So,
interesting.
So, yeah. But yeah, I have, what's my card count? I have 346 cards, but that's because of duplicates and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what it doesn't tell me my actual number.
Oh, gotcha. Are the cards, or like the packs, do you get them like after matches, or do you collect some sort of in-game tokens or something?
Yeah, you collect. So every like 12 hours, you get one free pack.
Oh,
Otherwise, you could use what's called hourglasses, and you can use that to instantly open packs and stuff. So you got the currency there, and then if you buy the premium pass, you know, like the season pass things, if you buy the premium pass, you get an extra card every extra free pack of cards every day. So you can get a total of 3 packs in a day for free, and then after that, you have to use like the in-game currency and stuff to buy them. So
interesting, cool.
And then you can. There's not a real incentive to do battles. Oddly. A lot of it is more focused on the game is more focused on collecting cards rather than battling. Battling seems to be more of an option to do if you want to have a reason to use your cards. But for the most part, you don't have to do battling. You can just continuously open packs. Most of like the daily missions and stuff, you know, are centered around using opening packs, are doing the wonder pick. The wonder pick is a thing where you can see how other people have opened their packs, and you can pick a card from their pack that they opened. It's random, so like you see the cards that are in the pack, and then they like flip over and shuffle them around, and then you select one, and you hope you get the one that you wanted from the pack.
Gotcha.
But, you know, you have a chance of not getting in stuff, so you get the wonder pick. So you have the wonder picks, and the wonder picks, you get like one token of wonder pick every 12 hours, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, there's like multiple paths to getting cards and everything. And then of course you have another currency. When you open packs, you get booster pack coins that you can then trade for specific cards in a set. So each card has like a different value. Like the rarer cards are like 2,000 booster points, and you only get like 5 booster points or something with every pack. It's like a very small amount, so you have to accumulate them over. I think I only have like 300 or something like that with how much packs I've opened. So nice. There's already pretty much confirmed that there's going to be more, you know, card sets and stuff in the future. Right now, there's only one card set called Apex Genetics or something like that. I probably got that wrong, but it's Genetic Apex. I just mixed up the words. Genetic Apex is the thing, and like the packs are Mewtwo, Pikachu, or Charizard. And in each one, and they show, when you click on them, they show you like what the rare cards are in each of those different packs. So like in the Mewtwo one, you can get Giovanni, you can get a Gengar, you can of course get Mewtwo.
Interesting.
You can get a Dragonite. So yeah, and then Pikachu, you get the Pikachu, a Blastoise, a cool looking Eevee, you get Brock. So but yeah, it shows you what the rare cards of each set are when you click on them. So yeah, it's cool. Again, I foresee myself checking in every single day for the rest of my life with this game. As long as this game is going, I'm probably going to check in every single day. So, because I love Pokemon. You should play it, download it. You'll get addicted too. Get sucked up into it.
It's funny. I thought about getting it, and then for some reason, because of that, I was like, "Oh, maybe I should get back into Marvel Snap."
Nah, I mean, they are very different because again, it feels like Pokemon TCG is more focused on the collecting. Now that may change. Maybe they'll have more incentive to play battles and stuff, because that's been a complaint so far. Has been like, yeah, we don't really have any reason to do battles because we're not getting anything extra. We're not getting any extra currency or anything like that. So,
yeah,
we'll see.
Nice.
but yeah, the game's fun. They're going to add trading eventually as well. So you'll eventually be able to trade cards with other people and stuff. And yeah, it's pretty good so far. I appreciate it. I like it. But we're here to talk about Dragon Age, the Veilguard. So Elle, I'm going to, there's a lot to talk about Dragon Age, the Veilguard from my review in progress. So for those who are watching this, this is a review in progress. I'm only about 15-ish hours into the game, so I don't feel comfortable giving like a score or anything like that. So I'm just going to talk about my experience for the first 15 hours. This game is, from what reviews have said, this game, if you just mainline everything, it takes about 50 to 60 hours to beat if you just mainline everything. So where I'm at right now, I have 15 hours in. I still have 3 companions I have to unlock. And I'm just trying to explore everything because that's what I do. When I play RPGs, I just explore. But to wind this back a little bit, there's a lot to talk about this game, from my review in progress to the reviews themselves that are out there that we can touch on. And then there's, of course, the drama that happened with review codes. I don't know if you were prone to any of it.
I saw a little bit of that.
Yeah. It was a big drama thing about it. It's a big hubbub boo boo. And then there's just the general toxicity. Yeah, that's out there because, of course, the game's woke. Whatever, whatever, people, whatever. So I'm gonna start with let's just start with like the reviews themselves. So right now, Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Right now, as of recording this may go up, this may go down. It's probably going to go down because it's only 61 critic reviews on OpenCritic. It's sitting at an 82 out of 100. Some of the top names, IGN gave it a 9 out of 10. PC Gamer gave it a 79 out of 100. Eurogame it a 5 out of 5. So it's all over the place. GameSpot gave it a 7 out of 10. So it's reviewing kind of all over the place. So I'm going to pull from the IGN review, which was written by, let me scroll back up, Lena Hafer. Lena Hafer said, Dragon Age: The Veilguard refreshes and reinvigorates. Oh my God. I just got like a pop-up that covered it.
Oh, I hate that.
Let me just read. All right. Dragon Age: The Veilguard refreshes and reinvigorates a storied series that stumbled through its middle years and leaves no doubt that it deserves its place in the RPG pantheon. The next Mass Effect is going to have a very tough act to follow, which is not something I ever imagined I'd be saying before I got swept away on this adventure. Enjoyable action combat, a fantastic cast of allies with sweeping story arcs all their own, top-notch cinematics, and moving, nuanced character writing are the wings on which this triumphant dragon soars, pulling out all the stops in a whirlwind tour of Northern Thedas and capping it with a terrific finale that's built on memorably tough choices and consequences. If we never get another Dragon Age, at least it got to go out on a high note. So that was from IGN over on PC Gamer. They gave it a 79 out of 10. 79 out of 100, not 10. Man, that would be a crazy score there.
Very good.
I'm trying to find a good sort of blurb to pull from this because they don't normally have a huge summary. Let's go with this first 2 paragraphs. Dragon Age game. This is by Lauren Morton over on PC Gamer. Dragon Age games have long faced the same problem as Dragon Age protagonists, the utter impossibility of pleasing everyone simultaneously. Arriving almost exactly a decade after Inquisition with hopes and expectations as granular as demands for cameos from minor characters in RPG design preferences that go all the way back to 2009's Origins, Dragon Age: The Veilguard is trying to please a lot of people. Like a protagonist playing yes man to every faction, Veilguard has ended up likable, but too broad in its appeal to love like clunkier Origins, endearingly messy Dragon Age 2, or an overambitious Inquisition. The first 10 hours of the Veilguard are disorienting even for a certified Thedas lore dork. It opens with my hero Rook and series fan favorite Dwarven archer Varric Tethreth, I can't ever say his last name right, arriving in the magical city Menatheris at the end of an apparently lengthy search to track down his Inquisition comrade turned elven god Solus. So that's kind of the opening for that is the opening for the PC Gamer review. For me, where I'm at right now, I strongly disagree that this first 10 hours is disorienting. I disagree with that, but I will say I actually feel things are rushed. The introduction of everything it feels very rushed to me because we're kind of just thrown into the action and they're just like, pay attention. It's one of those things where it's like, just strap in. Everything's going to get thrown at you. And maybe that's what they mean by disorienting.
Gotcha.
Where Lauren Morton mentions disorienting, because they do throw a lot of stuff on you. So maybe if you don't know a lot about the lore of Dragon Age, you might get confused, be like, what's happening? But I just think everything is rushed within this first couple of things when it's laying down the groundwork for the stakes about everything. But with all that said, those are the reviews. Those are the reviews from the critics. There was drama surrounding the review codes for the for this. Some folks didn't get review codes who thought they should get review codes because they had gotten invited to the preview event that EA and BioWare had a couple months ago. And but because apparently they were negative in their previews, they claim that EA didn't give it to them because they were negative. I can't speak on that. I don't know. Obviously we don't know the nuances of that because I doubt it's that simple. I highly doubt it's that simple. That would be insane. And if that was the case, EA should have realized if it's true, EA should have realized, oh, this is going to be bad press. So I doubt it was as nefarious or whatever. Like people are saying, oh, EA was just trying to select reviewers that were going to be favorable to it or whatever. And again, it's utter bullshit. Because if you look at the reviews, they're all over the place. You're going down, you're getting things down to like the 5s and 6s and stuff. And sure, there's ones that are giving it perfect scores and everything. But again, they're all over the place. So it's I strongly push back against that idea that this was some nefarious plot by BioWare or EA to try to make Dragon Age appear good.
Gotcha.
With that said, though, there is drama around it. I completely understand it. It is frustrating, I think, to be invited to the preview event and then not have the opportunity to review it at launch. It is a little weird, but also it could have been for any reason, nobody is owed anything. Even if you go to a preview event, that doesn't automatically mean you should be given a code to review or anything like that. Just be happy that you got to go to the preview event, right?
Exactly.
Again, what do we know, though? We're lowly nobodies that probably are never going to get invited to a review event, or preview event, or even get a review code. So, it is what it is. With all that said, with that drama aside, there's the other layer of drama.
More drama. Who would have known? Who would have thought that
There was a whole section of society that when they see that there's LGBT representation or strong women or general diversity in something, they cry foul and go, "This is woke DEI bullshit." And all I can say to those people, is they're all idiots.
Yeah,
that's the sum up my attention to them. They're all fucking idiots and they should go away. There's this active thing happening, and you can see it when you go to Steam. If you go down to the Steam reviews, there are people that are actively wishing for the demise of BioWare and all of this other stuff, which is like, why would you want something to fail? Exactly. Why? And how does that help the video game industry? I am not a corporate apologist. I don't fucking give a shit about these corporations because at the end of the day, they only care about money. So as long as they get their money, they don't give a shit. But there are still people that are creating these things that we supposedly enjoy playing. We are supposedly all gamers, right? So why would we actively want a company or a dev team to fail? Because that just means less people have jobs. Don't we want people to have jobs? Yeah. Or am I wrong in this, Al? Am I wrong in this?
No. You make a lot of sense. I think it's just it kind of makes me think of sometimes where there's certain aspects in almost every industry where things take a little bit to catch up to how they are in society, the current times, And so with people who are upset over quote woke, unquote woke, whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's I'm surprised by it, but also like I'm not surprised because I'm like it's just taking a little bit for things to kind of catch up in a way,
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot where we were going with this, but yeah, it's disappointing, but nobody should at least want a dev team to fail at all. Everyone strives to make out the best game that they can or that they want to for this, and that's like my hope. I think maybe when I was younger, I used to be like, oh, this team sucked, because you don't know any better.
Yeah.
You're just not aware of how complex like a company can be, and just like the direction that they take it, how complex things are. And so you kind of assume it's just kind of black and white when reality, excuse me, it's like different shades of gray, how things work. And so no one strives to make a bad game. Yeah. Unless it's, unless they choose to do something out of being funny or whatever. But most of the time, everyone is trying to make a good game. That's what they want to do.
They want to make a good game that people are going to enjoy.
Exactly. And people need to understand that not every game is meant to be for you. Mm-hmm. This isn't a thing of where, to an extent, like they're not there to please you. They're there to make the best game possible to appeal to almost everyone, or as whatever they're trying to aim for. Yeah. Just because it's like, because if, for example, like if I was upset and I was like, companies should only make games that I want to play, there's going to be a lot of people who are not going to enjoy the games that I want to play, and you're just cutting out a lot, and you're not including a lot of people. Yeah. And so, I say all that to say that I'm not surprised. I think it's just, it's going to take a little bit of time for it to catch up. And I think a lot of those people too, who kind of say stuff like that aren't really thinking straight, and they're not thinking in a right sound mind in a way. They're like, they're saying that based off emotion or like, just how they thought things would play out, so to speak.
Yeah. A lot of it is just being trolls, right? A lot of it's just trolling nature. Trolls. They don't actually believe what they're saying. I think, and I'm not trying to put words in people's mouths or anything. Maybe they actually want something to fail and they're actively cheering for its demise. But I feel like a lot of it is just trolling. But it's still like one of those things for the people that do believe it, people that do see that and go, yeah, I agree. This needs to fail. This needs to stop. It's like, why are you like that? Why? In what world does this help? Because people are going to lose jobs and companies are going to close down. And that means the gaming space grows smaller and smaller for something that we supposedly love, or that these people supposedly love. Why would you want that hobby of yours to like disappear?
True.
And like, all right, so it's whatever. I'm not going to spend all the time on this because I could rant about this forever. It's frustrating to see. It's just so frustrating to see. And it makes me wonder, like, it goes back to how I view the Star Wars fandom. I love Star Wars, but goddamn, are Star Wars fans some of the most toxic people I've ever just experienced in my life. It's like, so for something they supposedly love, they just are so fucking negative in the Star Wars fandom. They are ready to tear down every single thing. And it's so weird and frustrating to see, because it's like, why? I thought you loved this, but you want to see it fail? Okay, whatever. And so seeing that in this space too, it's like, it's frustrating. That's why I've been like gradually trying to remove myself from any sort of like discourse beyond just doing this podcast and stuff. Because like, I'm just tired of the negativity. I'm tired of always seeing negative. And I know I come off as negative sometimes with certain games. Like, you know me, I like to heighten my character up when I talk about Elden Ring and how I don't like Elden Ring. But I appreciate Elden Ring. Know that about me. Like, I recognize that is a 10 out of 10 masterpiece game. It's just not for me. And so when I say it sucks, I'm mostly just joking / trolling. I don't actually mean it. And I don't try, and I don't want to offend people. And I'm not actively rooting for it to fail or anything. Like, I want to see more Elden Rings. I want to see more From Software games, because those are fantastic games. So, and I feel like Dragon Age: The Veilguard is a fantastic game. So let's get into my actual like review and progress for this. So I am a longtime fan of Dragon Age. I've played Dragon Age since the very beginning. Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age Awakening, Dragon Age 2, Dragon Age Inquisition. I have read the books. I've read the comics of Dragon Age. Like I've been deep in the lore and the world of Dragon Age for a very long time. You know, I'm a huge BioWare fan. I've played pretty much all the BioWare games going all the way back to Baldur's Gate, the original Baldur's Gate back in the 90s, I want to say. I've never, there's like 2 games from the 90s that BioWare worked on before Baldur's Gate that I've never played and probably never will play. But I've played pretty much the entire catalog of BioWare games, including the Sonic RPG that they made. They made a Sonic RPG, Sonic Brotherhood of Darkness or something like that. Look it up for me real quick. But it was like Sonic Brotherhood of something. But it was a 3DS Pokemon game.
Oh, it's
3DS
Sonic Chronicles.
Sonic game.
It's Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood.
Yeah, there you go. And I've even played that. And I'm not a Sonic person.
funny.
We talked about this last time. I'm not even a Sonic person, but I played that. So I've played every game in the BioWare catalog. And this is, for me, this is just a evolution of what Dragon Age was in a lot of ways, for better or worse. I have a lot of positive things to say. I have a lot of negative things to say about this game, coming off from it being a just dedicated Dragon Age fan. And again, if you question my fandom of Dragon Age, look no further than what I named my dogs. Morgan and Alistair, characters from Dragon Age Origins, and well, they pretty much appear in all the Dragon Age games. I don't know if Alistair appears in Dragon Age the Veilguard yet, but Morgan's already appeared for me. So there you go. So like, look no further than that. And I've had Morgie for a decade now. But yeah, so like I said, though, I have a lot of positive things to say. I have a lot of negative things to say. I don't think this game is perfect by any means, but I absolutely love this game. This is everything that I could want out of a Dragon Age game. This is with how games are evolving, and with the direction that this game is taking. I think it fits the tone that it sets. It sets its stakes pretty early on. It sets the tone pretty early on, and it matches. And yes, it goes against sort of the grim dark that Dragon Age Origins was, and Dragon Age 2 for the most part. But like, this is almost feels like a reboot to the series and a sequel to the series. It feels like the best way I can describe it, using the Star Wars, since we already brought up Star Wars, it feels like this is a new trilogy. Like this is the beginning of a new trilogy. There's the original trilogy with Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2, and Inquisition. And now this is the start of a new trilogy that is setting a tone for where Dragon Age games could go. And so I think that is where my head has been wrapped around in these 15 hours of going, oh, this is why they're making these decisions and why these things aren't happening anymore. Because in the in-game world, it's been about 30-ish years, I want to say. I might be wrong on this, but like 30 or 40-ish years, maybe a little bit less. I can't remember the exact timeline. I think it's a closer to 30 years, I believe, since the events of Dragon Age Origins. So, of course, there's going to be a lot of things that kind of, it's a living world. So, of course, things move on, you know?
Yeah.
And that makes sense to me. So,
yeah.
Anyways, the game I utterly love, but again, there are some critiques I have for it. And I want to start with one of the big critiques that is kind of like everywhere, and that is simultaneously a critique, but it's also one of those things I completely understand in the context of making this a new trilogy type-esque. And that is, most of the decisions and stuff that you've made in the past do not matter at all. So one of the big things prior to release was that we weren't going to have what is called the Dragon Age Keep, the Dragon Keep. I think that's the name of it. It's where you can go in and kind of like from Inquisition, you were able to fill in everything, all the decisions that you made from Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2, and then import it into Dragon Age Inquisition. So all your decisions are there and can affect the world of Dragon Age Inquisition. There's not anything like that for Veilguard. They're completely like moving away from the Dragon Age Keep, and pretty much anything that happened in Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2, from what I've seen so far, do not get brought up in Dragon Age the Veilguard. And so a lot of people are frustrated and mad about that, because it's like, well, we spent all this time with all these characters and these story beats, and none of it mattered, which isn't necessarily true. It's just because, again, it's about 30 years into the future. So
yeah,
should we really still be feeling the effects of some of the events, you know? Like,
yeah, I get that. Yeah, time goes on.
Yeah, time goes on. You have 3 choices that you make from Inquisition when you so you can recreate your Inquisitor in Dragon Age: The Veilguard, and you get 3 choices. You get to decide who you romanced. So your Inquisitor, you have a list of characters on who you romanced. So you can pick somebody you romanced. If you disbanded the Inquisition, or if you kept the Inquisition under the Chantry. And then the third is if you vowed to save or stop Solus. So those are the only 3 choices that carry over from Inquisition. And this being sort of a reboot / sequel to the series, and this game trying to appeal to a wider audience, I completely understand why they didn't want to burden players with all of that other stuff from Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2, because I feel, for me, having played 15 hours, I feel like this is the most accessible of the Dragon Age games. Dragon Age Origins is clunky as hell to play. Again, I played these all back to back on my personal stream. Dragon Age Origins is clunky as fuck to play. It's not a good experience. I would not recommend playing Dragon Age Origins to anyone unless they just really want to play from the beginning and get a full picture of this universe. With that said, I love Dragon Age Origins. It's still one of my favorite games of all time, but it's hard to recommend that game because the game just does not play well, in my opinion. Now, I'm sure there's people that are going to push back against that and say, no, you're wrong, but whatever. I don't care. It's my opinion. I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
You were talking about going back through Origins and how clunky it was.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. It's one of those things where I understand why they kind of just ignored everything, because this is sort of a restart point, a reboot start, a fresh start. And even with the 3 choices that the game gives you, you don't really have context for it, right? If you're a new player, you're going to look at that and go, I don't know who the fuck these people are. Why? Romance who? I don't care. I don't know who these people are. Sure, I'll save Solus. Sure, I guess I disbanded the Inquisition, because you don't really have context for what any of that is, because this game is meant to appeal to a wider audience than what Inquisition did 10 years ago, because it's been 10 years since Inquisition. And so, again, this is meant to appeal to a wider audience. And so, you know, having all of that fluff for new players could prevent new players from coming in, right? Like, now if you like open the game, it was like, you need to make all these decisions. Would that have turned you off?
It might have been like a little bit of a stop. I'd be like, who is this? And then I probably would be like, I got to look up who this is. Why is this important?
You have to do homework.
Yeah, I know I had to do my homework. I'd be like, it might, I don't know if it would necessarily stop me, but it would be like, I'd probably be like, oh God, I got to do homework real quick. Hold on. Let me check. You know, it's not a pleasant experience because you kind of just want to jump into the game, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, so to cut this a little bit shorter, because I feel like I'm just talking in circles now. I understand why they made this choice. As a longtime fan, I wish our choices in past games would have been able to carry over and to influence the Veilguard even more. And it sucks that it doesn't, but I also understand why. But it is frustrating to have, you know, characters that you love from past games and then not really see where they're at now. You know, it's frustrating, but at least we get the Inquisitor. Yay. But I'm going to confess something here. The Inquisitor is my least favorite of the protagonist of the Dragon Age game. So I'm just like, it's whatever to me. But that's one of the big issues. And then for the other thing that stands out to me as I'm playing, and this is such a specific thing to me, and I don't know why it's frustrating me, but everyone is fucking short in this game. Everyone is short in this game. I'm very confused at the proportions of characters in this game. Like, Kunaris are this like supposed to be like big buff race that like they're essentially like bulls, basically. They're not bulls or anything. They're humanoid with horns, and but the idea is that there's big, brawny, you know. But even then, they look short. I made an elf elves traditionally are tall, right? And elegant.
Yeah.
My elf looks short. The dwarves, somehow the dwarves look short. Dwarves are supposed to look short. Everybody looks short in this game, and it's frustrating me. And like today, when I was streaming it today, I was just like, why is everybody short? I stood next to a barrel. The barrel was bigger than my character.
Whoa.
And I was like, why is this a thing? Why is everyone fucking short in this game? It's driving me crazy. I'm crazy. I know this is a weird thing to get frustrated, like hyperfixate on, but I'm so hyperfixated on things with that particular thing where I'm just like, why am I so freaking short? But yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
That was my joke. That's my joke. Negative there. Criticism. The other criticism I have that I actually feel is warranted is I do agree with a lot of the reviews that are saying the writing is kind of weak. At least where I'm at right now, specifically the dialogue, not necessarily the overarching story, but the dialogue between characters is very awkward at times.
Okay.
Sometimes it feels like a conversation happens or a conversation starts, but then you jump to the end of the conversation and you don't have that middle part. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Something starts and then it's like, well, what do you think? And I'm like, what do I think about what? What do you want me to, what's happening here? It's very like weird dialogue things. And then this is something I'm noticing in particular with my character. I don't know. I would have to play with other characters to see like the other voice options, how they work. But I'm playing my character right now. Their voice actor for it sometimes has like a very heavy British accent. And then other times it goes away completely.
Oh my gosh.
It's so jarring to hear them talk like in cutscenes and stuff. It's so jarring to hear. I'm like, wait a minute, you just had an accent. Where did it go? So I don't know why that's happening. And it's just with my character. All the other performances are fantastic. My God, the performances are amazing. It's just the dialogue itself is very clunky at times. Alice, shut up. There, everybody knows that my dog's name is Alistair now. I'm not editing this out either, Al. Keep it. But yeah, it's just the dialogue. The specific dialogues early on is very awkward. And I don't know if it's because, again, I feel like the beginning stuff is very rushed. So maybe that's why the dialogue feels rushed. I will say on this, when I ended my stream earlier today at the time of recording this on a Saturday, I was streaming before this. I had done a mission that felt very heartfelt, very moving. It was with the character named Bellaria. She told me about her brother, and that was probably the first instance where I was like, oh, this is freaking amazing writing, because of just the way the performances for both my character and Bellara, that voice actress for Bellara. Like, I was like, oof, this is actually really good. And so this is the first instance that I've had, and that probably happened at like the 12, 13 hour mark, where that quest line, I was just like, this is really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing as the game progresses, because all the reviews say as the game progresses, everything starts getting better and better as you go along. So I'm looking forward to that. I think there was a general consensus with a lot of reviews that the game ends on a very high note. So again, still super early in the game. I still don't have 3 companions. There's 7 companions in total, so I have 4 of the 7. And yeah, I'm so far really enjoying the game. But yeah, my negatives are just the lack of being able to carry choices over from previous games, and then just some clunky dialogue early on, but it feels like it's getting better and better as I play. So we'll see. Maybe it'll just be awkward and clunky. So yeah, I'm going to stop there, Elle, because I would love for you to chime in. And if you have any questions or any thoughts on anything so far, love to hear what you think so far.
I do think the one thing that I've noticed after looking at some, watching some people play some of it, the Veilguard, and then also watching reviews and things like that, this game is beautiful. It looks really good. Like, it looks amazing.
God, that's my biggest positive for this game. And this is going to get me frustrated and heated again. If you go to Steam, you'll see people going, this game is ugly. It's horrible. Blah, blah. I'm like, in what fucking world does this look horrible? There are vistas in this game when you just look out at the environment that is just utterly breathtaking.
Yeah.
Like there's just some absolutely beautiful moments, just where your environmental moments when you're just looking around and you just see something off in the distance, this tower off in the distance, and all the lighting and particles around it. It's so freaking gorgeous. Near the beginning of the game when you're in Manathoris, which is the opening city you find yourself in, you're being chased by like little airship things and stuff that are fighting these demons and that are popping up around you. But like when you look at the sky and see everything, the cityscape around you, it's like, this is so fucking gorgeous. And like, I understand the critique that people are having. They're comparing it to Pixar, but they're comparing it to Pixar in a negative way where it's like, since when was Pixar a bad animation? Like, did I just wake up in a weird world where Pixar is bad and nobody likes it? Because like Pixar has had some of the best animation going all the way back to the 90s, right? Like, am I crazy or something? Like what? But with all that said, like I think a lot of it has to do with like the reason people are going after some of the visual style, like more of the art style, is because Dragon Age started off as grim, dark fantasy stuff. Yeah. And so this is very much more cartoony. I would argue that this falls in line with the artistic style of Overwatch more than Pixar. I don't know. Like, I feel like all of these characters that I've been meeting, I feel like you could take them and put them in Overwatch and they would fit fine. So to give you something to compare it to, so that's what I feel like so far. Like I could see Ballara taking her gadgets and everything over to Overwatching and being a support character in Overwatch because she's a support character in this game. So,
gotcha.
Well, as supporting as she can be. But anyways, the game's actually absolutely beautiful. Like just the cutscenes are beautiful. When I created the character, when you create your character, the character creation is so many options. It looks fantastic. Nice. It's a little bit frustrating because you can adjust your height, but the height meter doesn't adjust anything. It's frustrating. I'm going to harp on the height stuff constantly because I have my character all the way to the height slider all the way up on my thing, and she's still short. Why is my elf short? I don't understand. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Continue,
no,
sorry.
I was gonna say, from what I've seen, the game looks really, really beautiful, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. I was gonna say, you mentioned some of the things that I have read in reviews where some of the writing is clunky, but it does have great moments. It just takes a little bit to get to them. That's it. I wanted to ask you a question that I had about this game because I'm unfamiliar with the previous Dragon Age games. The gameplay wise, has it changed at all, or is it on something new, or is it kind of the similar as before?
It's completely new. Okay. So the thing with Dragon Age in terms of gameplay has changed every single game.
Gotcha.
Dragon Age Origins is a traditional CRPG. Well, it's like a combination of action and CRPG. So CRPGs are like think Baldur's Gate and all of that. So Dragon Age Origins is more of that sort of style.
Gotcha.
Dragon Age 2, they made it very action heavy. So think like God of War. They made it like more like a God of War, more modern God of War now than it was God of War back then. But it was, it was more actiony. Then Dragon Age Inquisition was sort of a combination of Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2, where it was very action heavy, but you could pull out into like a tactical view and maneuver around and stuff like you would in a CRPG like Baldur's Gate. And so this one is very much going back to the more action focused side of things. In the past Dragon Ages, you could have up to 3 companions following you around. And this one, you can only have 2 companions following you around. You don't get to control them at all. So in the other Dragon Age games, you could control them. In this one, you can give them commands, but you can't position them or anything like that. You just give them commands. The user interface, like the interface when you like pull open to command, is like Mass Effect. So if you've ever played Mass Effect, for those who have played Mass Effect, you have a command wheel that opens up and you just you can select like the powers you want them to use and stuff, and then they'll use the powers. But the gameplay itself, the action, the combat itself is very action focused. This one I would say is very much in the vein of God of War. So if you like the God of War sort of style combat, I think you'll enjoy this a lot. There's just This is just more bright and colorful and a lot more explosions because you're using magic and stuff. But I would say that it's for like God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok. If you like that combat, this is very similar in combat to that.
Ah, okay.
And so it's very different from past ones.
Yeah, I've seen that because that's one thing that people touch on. And then from the gameplay that I've seen, like from reviews or just other streamers kind of playing the game and stuff like that. Because I do, like you mentioned earlier as well, I do like the character creation side. Anything like that, the way that they have it here is what I kind of like compare it to like a Baldur's Gate 3. Just like I like the details that goes into that as far as like the class or just the appearance and things like that to an extent with the hype. But it's
the hype's pissing me off.
It's very interesting. I guess the question that I did have is, since this is kind of like a reboot in a way, as far as the game where it's trying to appeal to so many people, what is Dragon Age about? Like, what are you attempting to do? Is it because I know you mentioned earlier,
you're asking a very lengthy thing. Do you want me to just focus on like where Veilguard starts? Do you want me to just focus on that? Let me ask you, because
like I guess for example, you can start off Veilguard. What does the Veilguard mean to Dragon Age? What is that representing? Like, what is it?
So the Veilguard. So from what I've gathered and what I understand, Varric Tethras. He's been your BFF in Dragon Age 2. He was your BFF in Dragon Age Inquisition, and he's sort of your mentor / BFF in the Veilguard. The Veilguard was formed to track down Solus. Solus was a companion in Dragon Age Inquisition, and it turned out that he was Fen Haral, who is the Dreadwolf, who is one of the elven gods. And it turns out, and so like the stuff that happened in Inquisition with the character named Corypheus getting this ability to like tear open the veil and all this other stuff, it's because Solus gave him the power to do so. It's a whole thing.
Gotcha.
It gets revealed at the end of all of Dragon Age Inquisition and all that stuff. And so the Veilguard was formed. This idea of the Veilguard was formed to track down Solus, or at least that's what leads into the creation of the Veilguard. The Veilguard is sort of just like this organization that your character is forming with all these other characters that you meet, and that is just to protect the world and all that jazz from the evil elven gods that have been released to the world.
Okay. In essence, in a way comparable to like a Justice League of something to protect the universe and stuff.
You're just trying to protect the world. Basically, it's just your traditional fantasy good versus evil type thing. There's a little bit more nuance to it and stuff, but that's the essentials of it. It's like good versus evil. You're one of the complaints that I kind of agree with so far is with your rook. You don't really get to be an asshole. Your rook is just kind of either chippy, sarcastic, or stern, but never an asshole.
Gotcha.
So like I've been leaning hard into the sarcasm because that's just who I am as a person in real life too, is I will crack a joke even when it's inappropriate, and you can do that in the game, but you can never be like a full on evil asshole person. And that's something that people have been complaining about, where it's like, back in Dragon Age 1, we could wipe out an entire village and stuff. And it's like, well, that's not what this story is. This story is clearly we are fighting evil gods, and we are trying to stop the evil gods. So but that's a complaint that a lot of people are having to with the writing and the dialogue and stuff, and not being able to influence your character very much. But yeah,
no, it makes sense. And then so then that brings me to ask, because I know here you mentioned earlier that there's a total of 7 companions that you can have. Total of 7 companions. With your character that you create in this game, is there a class system as to like what type of abilities you can use, or is it kind of like a collection of things? Or
it's you're either a rogue, a mage, or a warrior.
Okay.
And so I'm a rogue. And within the rogue, you have multiple skill trees that you can specialize in. So you can specialize in dual wielding blades. You can specialize in archery, or you can specialize in like a combination of the two where it's called Saboteur, I believe is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're kind of using traps, your blades, your archery to kind of like control the battlefield. I'm going the Veil Ranger route where I'm just using archery.
Gotcha.
It feels so good to be an archer in this game. In the past Dragon Age games, when you're an archer, you just it just shoots automatically. You don't really control where you're aiming or anything like that. In this one, it feels so good to like finally just be able to, I'm going to get a headshot on that thing. I'm going to I actually get to aim and get a headshot, hit the critical points on this thing. And then I get power boost because I just got a headshot. So it makes my next attack even stronger. Hell fucking yeah. It feels so gratifying. And then being able to switch from being an archer into dual blading because things are getting close to me. So now I have to fight with my blades. It transitions almost seamlessly to me where it just feels, the flow of the battle feels so good right now. I, again, gonna pull in some of the negatives from the reviews. A lot of reviews have mentioned, or some of reviews have mentioned that the combat gets monotonous after a while. So far, it hasn't happened to me, but it could, I guess. But I'm enjoying it as for what it is right now. So
nice. All right, another question, because I know at the beginning you said when you first started the game, you have decisions that you can choose as to kind of like affect. I don't, depends on, I guess, the extent, but like the history of like what happened to, did you keep the Inquisition together, so on and so forth?
Yeah.
In this game, is this a game where you romance people or are you already romanced with someone?
You can romance any of the 7 companions.
Whoa.
You can do the deed with any of them. Prior to the start of the game, when I was looking at the companions, just like getting glimpses of when they were like revealing who the companions were, there was a character named Tash that I looked at and I was like, that's who I'm going to romance. They are freaking hot. But now that I've played everything and I've met Ballara, I've met Lucanus, I'm like, maybe I'll hook up with one of them because man, Ballara is adorable as hell, and Lucanus is fucking hot. Like he is hot. He is. It's like he's from the country of Antiva, which in the world of Antiva it's basically, think like a Spain or Italy sort of situation with Antiva. That's where it's influenced. And boy, he's just so freaking suave. Like it's like, oh, flirt with me all day long. You're making me hot and bothered over here. So, and then Ballara is just adorable. So yeah, the other 2 companions that I have. Harding is a character from Dragon Age Inquisition, and she was just always a cool character that I liked. And like in this game, it's definitely like I just see you as like a sister. You're cool. I've known you for a long time, and I don't want to flirt with you. And then Nev is very cold and off-putting. She's a mage, and she's very like cold and distant with you. And so I'm like, I'm not interested right now, but maybe it'll turn. I don't know.
Interesting.
But yeah, Lucanus and Ballara right now, they're standouts for me in terms of wanting to romance. I think Tash is like the last companion you get. So haven't met them yet.
Gotcha.
But we'll see what happens when I meet them.
Whoa. I did want to ask one thing I noticed I saw, but maybe this, I guess it'll be dependent because I don't think everyone's experienced this, but sometimes one thing that I've heard from some people, not a lot, I guess it depends on your setup. People say that sometimes the combat can get a little crazy, like as far as what's going on in your screen at one time. Like if you're just doing a lot of abilities or like spells, or I don't know if you've come across that at all, or is it confusing? Or
the only I haven't really seen the craziness. What has happened for me is that for some reason every now and then the camera kind of gets wonky where I'm like I get pressed like against the wall or something, and then I can't see my character because like I see the wall, but then my character's behind the wall, and I like get stuck on the wall because I can't like dodge or anything like that. And so that's what's happened with me. I don't necessarily think it's being crazy. I think it's just me working against the controls.
Gotcha.
I don't know if it's because of the game or if it's just because me panicking or something like that. You know what I mean? So maybe yes, maybe no. I've like turned off some of the elements. Like I've turned off numbers so I don't have to see like how much damage I'm doing and all of that.
Gotcha.
You can like turn off various elements of the UI so it's less cluttered, so you can see more of the game and all of that, or at least more of the environment, I should say. But yeah, like if I'm not in combat, I don't have any of the HUD on. Like the HUD just disappears. You can have it to where it stays on the entire time. I have it where it disappears. The only thing that doesn't disappear is the mini map, so I can see where I'm going. But everything else disappears. So it's just me and the environments. And then when I get into combat, my hotkeys for my abilities and then my health bar shows up. And so
Gotcha. Okay. I think I had like one more, but what was it? It didn't have to do with the gameplay. Oh no, I wanted to get your opinion on this. I think you touched on it a little bit. One thing that I've heard a lot of people say is that in it's great to finally start to see different parts of the world that have been talked about in like journal entries and things like that, and finally get to see them in this game because they're designed beautifully. As we mentioned earlier, that the game looks beautiful, looks gorgeous. And so it's really cool to see the world and then just see all these characters and just your companions like are really great and like well written. That's what I've been saying. And
to comment on like the world design and like being different from the other games. So like the other games, Dragon Age Origins 2 and Inquisition, were trapped in like the southern part of Thedas. So that includes Orlais, Ferelden, and then the Free Marshes or Free Cities or whatever it's called. We never got to see Antiva or Nevaria or even the Tevinter Imperium. And so it's nice being able to see those. Like Antiva is very, again, I think I mentioned this already. It's very like Spain or Italy sort of influence in its architecture and the way people speak and the way the dynamic is. And then if you go over to Minatheris, which is the capital of the Tevinter Imperium, there's a very like distinct like steampunk style to it that I'm like in love with. It's really cool. It's a really cool style. It's very much there's like a steampunkness. Best way I can describe it is Dishonored. It kind of has a Dishonored look to it. And I'm like, this is so cool to see this in this world. Where in Orlais and Ferelden is very much like English, UK kind of inspired territory, and Orlais is France inspired, French inspired. So it's like we're getting to see other parts of the world and build up and all of this stuff that I'm just like, it's really cool to see because in the previous games, it was only ever mentioned. It was only ever mentioned or like, this place is over here. This place is over there. I'm from this place. I'm from that place. And so it's nice to finally get the context of what these places look like.
Gotcha.
Now, I haven't seen everything, but what I've seen so far, I absolutely adore. Again, everything about this game is just beautiful. Like when you're in the cities, even the city that you're in Antiva, it looks so different from the city of Minatheris when you're in Minatheris and all that. Like everything is distinctly different and very unique. So
gotcha.
And it's not like you're seeing the same things over and over again or the same assets over and over again. Those locations are very distinct from each other.
Nice. Well, yeah, I think that actually answers like all the questions I had because the game, like I said, when a game looks as good as it does interest me and pique my interest because depending on the aesthetic that you're going for, but like this game looks really good and it's something that I'm thinking about checking out. But I feel like if I get into it and once I get into it, the only, I think, not necessarily fear, but the only worry that I have is like, because I have not played any of the previous iterations or the previous games, I'm just like, am I just going to be thrown in and I have no idea what's going on type of thing, you know?
I don't think it's going to matter too much, honestly.
Yeah.
Even with how rushed the beginning is and like being a lot of information being thrown at you, the game does a good enough job of explaining who the important character is, which the important character at the beginning of the game is Solus. It does a good enough job explaining who Solus is, what they're doing. And then after that, it's pretty much we're learning a bunch of new stuff after that. So even like not necessarily new stuff, but we're now getting them we're getting new information that we never had before if you've already played the Dragon Age game. So you know a little bit, like you'll be introduced to Morrigan. You may not know who Morrigan is, but when the Morrigan gets introduced, sorry, this is a spoiler. This literally happens within the first 2 hours of the game. Morrigan appears, probably not the first 2 hours, but still within the first like pre 10 hours. When Morrigan gets introduced, the Harding goes, "Oh yeah, Morrigan helped us over at the Inquisition. She helped us with some magic stuff." That's all you need to know. That's what Morrigan did. She helped the Inquisition with some magic stuff. There you go. So you don't need to know what that was because it's not important to anything else that happens in the story. It's just Morrigan shows up to help you, and there you go.
Nice.
So like if I think this is a good starting point for any newbie to the series, because you're not going to be weighed down with any of the other nonsense from the other games other than the 3 choices that you have when you're creating the Inquisitor. And you can honestly not even worry about creating the Inquisitor. It's sort of like an option that's like, hey, press, I can't remember what button you're supposed to press on the keyboard, but it was like, press this button so you can customize your Inquisitor, or go forward, and you can just go forward and not even worry about it. And then they give you a default Inquisitor with default choices. So you don't even have to look at that or even pay attention to the Inquisitor if you don't want to.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Nice. Well, I think that's it. I don't think I have any other questions. I think it's cool though. I am happy though that there are some people who are like seeing the game for I think what it is, and like it's an overall good game.
Yeah.
Regardless of the few voices that tend to be the loudest and stuff of what everything else.
Yeah. With all that said, like I completely understand the valid criticisms that the game's having with like the writing, and if the combat doesn't vibe with you, if you're wanting more of a tactical feel like a Baldur's Gate 3, this is not going to be the game for you. if you're looking for that style of game, it's not going to be for you. This is very much an action RPG, heavy on the action. So gameplay wise, I completely understand if like folks look at this and go, but I want a more tactical approach after playing Baldur's Gate 3. Well, you're not going to get that. Sorry. That's not what this game is.
Gotcha.
So I understand that criticism. I understand the criticism for the dialogue, because I agree with the dialogue for the most part. It is getting better. The more I play, it does get better. It is just a little off-putting early on when you're just like trying to get your bearings on everything. It can be like, well, shit, this sounds horrible. And it's true. But again, as things are progressing, I've been getting, maybe it's just me getting used to the way these characters are talking and communicating with you. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But yeah, overall, I think right now where I'm at, and obviously I'm only, again, 15-ish to 20-ish hours into the game. I could see this game being a 9. I could see this game becoming a 7 for me.
Okay.
I'm sitting at an 8 right now in my brain. Like if you wanted me to rate this now, I'd say an 8 out of 10. I could see being a 9. I could see dropping down to a 7. And the dropping down to a 7 is because just the story goes off the rails and makes no gosh darn sense. Yeah. I could see it becoming a 9 because the story is so gosh darn good that I'm just in love with it.
Gotcha.
With the sum of its parts right now, it just feels like an 8. Because again, clunky dialogue. The beginning felt very rushed, and I'm not necessarily on board with the direction that the story is taking. Just in terms of fighting the elven gods and all that. I'm just like, I don't know. But anyways, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. I'm sitting at an 8 if I had to rate it now. But I will have my official rating in the future whenever I finish it. It's not going to be next weekend. It'll probably be more like closer to December, probably. But
I could say that.
Yeah.
Nice.
With all that said, my final statement. All these stupid motherfuckers. I wanted to save this for last because, my God, people are fucking stupid. There's a moment early on in the game where you get this wheel, the dialogue wheel, and then it has you make choices, and you're reflecting on your character's life. You're reflecting on your character's life. And in one of the options, you can decide on your pronouns and your identity. Yeah. You don't have to click on it. You can just click on one of the other things. You can click on scars, and you click on scars, and it brings up this dialogue wheel that you reflect on your scars, and that's it. You never see the option again. It is your choice to go click on the thing that says that asks you to identify yourself or your sexual identity or whatever it is, gender identity thing. It's your choice to click on that. You don't have to click on that. And there are people going, oh, this game is horrible because it's forcing you to do this. It's not forcing you to fucking do anything, you stupid fucking bigots. That's all I got. You're just a horrible fucking person. You're just a horrible fucking person who, sorry, I'm done. I'm not going to rant about this. It's just fucking frustrating to see. Sorry.
Yeah, I get it. It makes a lot of sense.
I'm sorry. It's just, I'm in the LGBT community and all this other shit, and it just frustrates me beyond belief when people make a big deal out of this one thing that has nothing to do with anything else that you're going to do in the game. So,
exactly.
And it's actively your choice. You have to choose to do it. So,
yeah.
Whatever. Apparently that's enough to ruin a game, though. So
that's crazy.
I'm angry now. I'm sorry. I just got pissed off.
You're good.
No, but you know what doesn't piss me off?
What's that?
Spending time with you. I love you so much. You're my best friend.
Likewise, man.
In the stream.
I love you too. Everybody,
because I don't want to be with you anymore because I hate you. No, kidding.
Everybody, thanks so much for tuning in to the Respawn Please podcast. It becomes available video version and audio version every Monday at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 a.m. Central, and 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Mondays. You can watch the video version of this podcast here on our YouTube. Just look up Respawn Please podcast. Make sure to subscribe. Hit the bell icon to be notified of future videos when we release them. If you'd rather listen to us on the go, just anywhere you listen to podcasts, just look up Respawn Please podcast and you'll find us there. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to follow us on social media at Respawn Please podcast on Instagram and TikTok. And be sure to tune in for next week.